Go, recording. Wonderful. We do have Spanish translation. Alejandro is here to help us with that. So there's the on the screen how you can go ahead and get the interpretation on the bottom there of your Zoom. And any questions, feel free to always put in the chat, and we will be monitoring that. Just some housekeeping for attendance. Please put your first and last name and school site in the chat box. And for individual student questions, once again, that link in the chat, we will connect with you either on this DELAC meeting or later following up from this meeting. But if it's general questions on any topics discussed, type them there and we'll answer them as we feel as the meeting's going or get back to you quickly. All right, Tristan. Thank you. Today's agenda, here we go. For our DELAC meeting, our welcomes. I'm going to quickly go over our notes, our meeting notes from our previous DELAC meeting in January. We always review the purpose of DELAC and coming together. A topic we're going to discuss is the reading difficulty screener. Heather's going to share a little bit about that. Based on the EL parent needs assessment, we have some updates from our TOSA team of Susan and Abe talking about math and literacy updates. We're also going to have our English Learner Teacher Committee share out. So a teacher representative from each site will be sharing that. And how to read LPAC score reports has come up. So we want to make sure we help you with that. And the last thing we'll discuss is the Local Control Accountability Plan, which is also known as the LCAP. Okay, so with protocol, reviewing the minutes from our last meeting, we went over the purpose of DELAC, we reviewed the January meeting minutes, we reviewed reclassification information, which we'll talk a little bit more with site representatives on that, but how that gets decided and what's been going on in Union School District. We presented some Union School District EL data and LPAC timelines. We gave the needs assessment highlights, and we also explained the local control accountability plan, also known as the LCAP, which I said we'll touch on a little bit more today. As always, the English Learner Teacher Committee had some site share outs of current events. And there was a lot happening in January because all spring we were very busy with some upcoming family and community events hosted by Union School District and some things going on around us. So it's been a fun spring. We talked about that in January, so families could be invited to that. And then we also discussed a little bit about the Union School District language ambassadors, which I do want to circle around. I'm going to be emailing about language ambassadors, and we want to make sure that we continue this next year. So more information on that to come. And we announced some future Union School District events coming up as well. Tristan? Okay, just a little spring wellness check. It's spring, and so some of you are thinking about vacations, but I want to know in the chat, can you please type one if you're feeling like you'd rather go to the beach, two if you're like, I'm not ready for warmer weather and I would rather have snowy mountains, three if you're a city person and want to go explore city life, or four if you'd rather have some outdoor time on the ranch, fishing, seeing some animals. Go ahead and just put in the chat what you're feeling. Ooh, exclamation marks with the four. Okay. One, beach. A lot of fours and ones. Oh, yep. Okay. One specific Maui call out. One, a lot of beach. Okay. Feeling it. And some relaxed time on the ranch. Lovely. Thanks, you guys. All right. Tristan. As you're finishing up of where you'd like to vacation, some welcome and introductions. We've got Heather Scher, Director of Educational Services, with us today. Annie Murphy will be joining us hopefully later. A lot of meetings right now going on. Director of Student Services. She also talked to us about the LCAP last time. Janine Burris, me, teacher on special assignment. We also have some other TOSAs on this call as well. Tristan Ruiz is the curriculum assessment and media specialist, which is a lot. He's helping you with tech support. Anything you're putting in the chat, he's here for us. Thanks, Tristan. And Alejandra Aguilar, our community liaison, helping us with translation from English to Spanish. She also helps a lot with connecting our families. And of course, the English Learner Committee teachers in Union School District. So elementary and middle school here joining us from all sites. Purpose of DELAC formality, we need to make sure that we are reminded of why we're here, and it's to learn about the district programs and services provided to English learners in Union School District. We serve as an advisory capacity with district personnel to review the implementation of programs for English learners. We're also going to talk about lingual learners as well, multilingual learners. Serve in an advisory capacity with district personnel to annually review and update the district master plan for English learners. Learn about the parent involvement activities in Union School District, which has been a huge positive coming out of DELAC. Thank you so much for all the parents that are here and your comments and questions just to further connect with you has been a great positive thing that we've been doing within Union School District and our parent community. So thank you. All right, next slide, Tristan. And with that, Heather's going to go ahead and talk to us further about the reading difficulty screener that's coming up.
Yes, welcome everyone. So we're very excited about this. It's something that's been in the works in the state of California for years. Back in 2023, it passed into law that all California school districts would need to start giving a reading difficulties, including dyslexia, screener for all kindergartners, first graders, and second graders. And while everyone was excited about that, it took a while to figure out what that screener would look like. So the state of California put out there to companies, universities to submit their screener options. And ultimately, they narrowed it down to 4 approved screeners. And so we have built a committee. The approved screeners were just released in late December, and we have to make a decision by June. And so we've put together a committee that has been meeting to look at all the screeners and gather information and talk to the universities and the companies that house these screeners. And so we're in that process, and we're actually going to be bringing our recommendation to the school board on Monday. And so after Monday, we'll know for sure which screener we'll be using. But it really is just going to be a great thing because the screeners are quick. It's like a 10-minute little quick assessment, but the reports that it gives teachers and parents will be really beneficial for us helping determine which students need some extra support in their early literacy skills. So I wanted to make sure that we kind of start messaging that out. So this group is our first parent group that we've shared that with. So hopefully you will be interested in hearing more info as it's released. But I did just want to let you all know that we are in this process. So more information to come. And then with that, Janine, I'll just, since it's the next slide, I'll kick this one off. Based on our DELAC parent needs assessment that many of you took in the fall, so thank you for that. Two of the top items that parents wanted to hear more about at DELAC were learning more about how we teach literacy here in Union School District and how we teach math here in Union School District. And so we are very lucky to have 2 of our other TOSAs, Mr. Abe Goldman and Mrs. Susan Lavelle, who both work really hard in these areas, not just with students, but really with supporting teachers and giving professional development and coaching for teachers in these areas. So they are going to share out a little bit about literacy and math in USD.
Hello, everybody. I am really happy to be able to talk to you about some significant shifts that we have been making in the area of reading across the last 2 years. You may have read some articles and become aware of the science of reading. It's a hot topic right now, and our district has done a terrific job of addressing this and making some significant changes. We have a few different new curriculum that we're using, including Foundations, Secret Stories, and some tried and true resources like Haggerty and Words Their Way. And one specific skill I'd like to share with you is the ideas around the secret stories, which is we can teach phonics skills, and children are even more likely to remember to use them in their reading and especially their writing if there's a story that they can connect to each of these isolated skills that we just have to remember in order to decode and to write. And here's an example of one. It's the sound. And can be spelled three different ways: E-R, I-R, and U-R. And these sounds are terrible drivers. They love to drive, but they're really not good at it. And they're always running into each other. And the sound that they make is, you can get your hands up and get ready. And so we can remember that can be spelled I-R as in bird, or U-R as in turn, or E-R as in dinner. And you could probably guess which one is used most often, and you would be correct in that it is ER. In 3rd through 8th grade, we are continuing to focus on spelling in the teaching of writing. Right now, in most 3rd through 8th grade classrooms, children are focusing on informational or argumentative or opinion writing, creating projects that you will be able to see at open house. And it's a really special time of year to culminate the year with a great book. And these titles that you see on the bottom of this slide are just a few that are being used in our 3rd through 8th grade classrooms, most often taught in small groups where kids can have an authentic experience with a book club that focuses not only on theme and purpose, but also vocabulary and ideas. It's a collaborative and flexible and cooperative way to learn, and there's nothing better than talking about a good book together. And I hope that you have a book picked out for yourselves that you'll enjoy reading this summer as well.
Thank you, Susan. We appreciate your literacy update. Tosa Abe Goldman, can you update us about math in Union School District, please?
I sure can. Thank you, Janine. We'll start with the basic curriculums for both our elementary and middle school sites. In elementary, we adopted this year Eureka Math Squared. And in our middle schools have been using the CPM curriculum for, I believe, 9 years now. Both texts can be translated or have versions that are translated in English as well as Spanish. And both curriculums have parent guides that are in both English and Spanish. So I think of this as like the base level, right? They have access, all students and parents have access to the curriculum in English and Spanish. Now with math, I keep telling myself to talk slower. I apologize. You're going to hear me speed up and then slow down. In our math classes across the district, K-8, our math teachers supplement with a lot of different resources. Probably the largest one in elementary school is Happy Numbers, which provides additional support. It can sort of act as homework. It helps students below grade level, at grade level, and above grade level. It's individualized to each student, which is great. And what makes this nice for our multilingual learners is it's largely visual. There's lots of animations, and you don't have to rely on a lot of language to understand the math concept. This is one of the main things through a lot of the materials that we supplement with in middle school. Might be Open Middle. There's Solve Me mobiles. There's a ton of resources in this day and age, much more than when I was in school. And the internet makes these like the ability to have wonderful visual math tools that don't rely on language. So that's great. Now, how we directly support language acquisition is through things like number talks and building number sense. A lot of our teachers use, cooperative learning systems like Kagan that our district provides some professional development for. But a number talk is mental math, and then you share as many different ways you can solve a problem with the class. So it provides repeated opportunities to hear and practice math vocabulary in context. And I would say all teachers in our district use both of these sort of strategies on an ongoing basis.
Thank you for those updates, Tosas. It's always nice to hear what's going on with curriculum in the district. So thank you. EL committee share outs. Teachers be ready. Families be ready to hear what's going on around the district at these school sites. And we will go ahead and start with Alta Vista. If you can share out.
Thank you, Janine. I am Shweta Tripathi and I teach second grade at Alta Vista. So this time I wanted to share with you how we are going to recognize all those students who have mastered one more language in addition to the language that they're already proficient in. So like every year, our principal is going to make an announcement at a school-wide assembly. She's going to recognize all these wonderful students. Following this, over the next few days, our principal is going to personally visit each of their classrooms. She's going to present them with medals and certificates. And it's a really exciting and uplifting moment for all of us because this is the time that all the teachers have been working hard for. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love hearing the celebration. Such a proud moment. I'm going to share on behalf of Josie Marley for Carlton some updates she sent me. There is an Art Vistas show coming up on May 13th through 15th. And there's a field day on May 19th. And May 22nd is the RFEP celebration, honoring all our multilingual students. And there's going to be two groups. There's a group at 1 p.m. and there's a group at 1:30, depending on the grade level. And invitations are going to be hand delivered to students. And parents are also going to receive an email. Refreshments are going to be following for this big event of celebration. Also at Carlton, it's a longstanding tradition about Dance Fest. Dance Fest practice has started, and it's a longstanding tradition at Carlton, held in the evening. It's a community event for families. Each grade level does a choreographed dance. I was just there the other day, and I saw these students working hard on their dances, preparing. June 4th is the date for Dance Fest at Carlton. All right, let's go ahead and have an update from Dartmouth, please.
Hey, I'm doing Dartmouth today. We had our reclassification celebration here in the library in the afternoon. It was during our Eagle time. It's like our homeroom time. And students were able to go down and principals went and recognized all of our students, and the parents were invited as well. And in the school at large, we have just finished up our production of Guys and Dolls. I didn't get to go myself, but I heard it was fantastic.
Thank you so much. Those productions by the end of the year are so great. The kids spend so much time on those, as well as the staff. Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Hall. All right, Guadalupe.
Hey, so we have a lot going on. We also are figuring out our reclassification ceremony, and I think we'll have all the kids announced in the announcements, but then we'll do something special with inviting their parent to like have coffee, and the kids can have juice and donuts together to celebrate. Other things that are going on, every Thursday we do Imagine Learning, and the students each month that get the most minutes of Imagine Learning earn a gift certificate and a gift card, which is nice. They love that. May 5th, we had our art show and carnival. Coming up for us at Guadalupe, we have the open house on the 21st, a volunteer breakfast on the 30th. June 4th will be Olympic Day. And then we also have the last week of May is Spirit Week. So dressing up, kids can do something different each day.
Lots of fun stuff going on at Guadalupe. Definitely. That Olympic Day sounds fun. All right, Leets, your update, please.
Hi, everybody. I love that Imagine Learning idea. That is so cool. Just wanted to say that. We had our Leeds Carnival on the 25th, and that was a great turnout. Teachers volunteer and families volunteer as well to make it possible. And it was an amazing event for the community. Our reclassification recognition is actually going to be tomorrow at our morning rally. And Ms. Lemons will be honoring the students who have reclassified, and we will give them many woot woots, and very excited about that. And then finally, we have our multicultural night coming up as well on Friday. This is an amazing event. I'm sure some of you have been, but we have an amazing array of cultures within our community. I ran the Italy booth last year, and it's pretty amazing how many not only families come, but many parts of our community will be willing to donate food or other things to share with the people that come to the multicultural fair. So I suggest you all come. That is this Friday, and it's amazing. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Leets update. And I just wanted to clarify, Ms. Guido, that you've got your reclassification celebration tomorrow as well as your multicultural night tomorrow.
Yes. Right?
Wonderful.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
that. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Not an update.
Hi, Walkathon is coming up next Friday at Nodden. They have just completed their 2 weeks of state testing, the CASP testing. It's gone very well. Your kids have worked incredibly hard. We're very proud of them. They are celebrating the classification of our multilingual students in 2 weeks. The next Thursday is the variety show. Family game night is tonight, May 8th. So come join the fun and frolic. A few classes are wrapping up their last field trips of the year. 5th grade is getting ready for Kane's Arcade, where they build games for the whole school to come play. That is really special and super fun to watch. So creative, your kids. 4th grade is preparing for the Gold Rush play, which they will perform at the end of the month. And finally, the chorus is practicing and getting ready for their spring performance.
Lovely. A lot of performances at Nodden. That's exciting. A lot of things to go see. All right, Oster.
Hi, I'm sharing for Oster today. So we actually just had our international night last Wednesday, and it was such a big turnout, and there's so many booths and so many good foods and performances to see. We also have our RFEP on May 23rd, an assembly with the whole school. And then we just also finished our state testing for 3rd and 4th graders. Unfortunately, our 5th graders have one more week of it. But yeah, it's been going great over here at Oster.
Thanks for the Oster update. Good to hear. I made note of that upcoming RFEP celebration. So that's lovely. Thank you for that. And let's go ahead and go to Union Middle School.
Hello, everybody. We've had a lot of exciting things happening over here at Union. We had our RFEP celebration a couple of weeks ago, and we had our students, we had a lunch actually celebration in my classroom, and the students were allowed to bring a friend. So it was them and a buddy. And we had a bunch of their teachers here. We had district staff. There were TOSAs here. There was music. There was food. There were drinks. There was dessert. We presented them with their medals and their certificates. We did a speech for them, and they had a really nice time. It was very celebratory. They were so excited. Some of them wore their medals all day long, and it was really fun. It was great. It was just a great celebration. And then we had our first multicultural night ever here at UMS, and that was a couple weeks ago as well. And we weren't sure how the turnout was going to be since it was our first annual, and it was phenomenal. Hundreds and hundreds of people showed up, and the food was absolutely amazing. I ate an embarrassing amount. I am going to be dreaming about some of that food forever. It was just, I mean, it was one of the most it was magical, for lack of a better word. And I am very much looking forward to seeing how next year turns out. So we are in the midst of testing over here, and I'm sure everyone is very much looking forward to that being over. But it is right around the corner. So that is oh, we just had our final dance of the school year. It was a carnival theme. So that was this past Friday.
Lovely. Thank you for that update, Miss Angwell. And I do want to say kudos to you. You were quite the host for your reclassification ceremony, and they were so excited with those medals. And there is a lot of talk of how successful the first multicultural night was. So awesome job, Union, for trying that out and having so many community members come out. So thank you, families, for helping out with that. I too heard about the delicious food. All right, with that, thank you for the updates. So much fun going on to wrap up the school year and things to be a part of. I hope families come out to different school sites, depending on schedules, and ask your child about it to be a part of things. So thank you. Thank you for those updates. All right, with that, Heather, go ahead and talk to us about some other things that have been going on as well with our Spanish social and adult English class.
Definitely. So last spring, so about a year ago, we piloted two versions of an adult English class. These classes actually came from some of our DELAC members who really just kind of over a couple of years said, one thing that we would love to have the opportunity to do is work with other adults to learn, either to learn or to work on improving our English skills. So last spring, we started a beginner class that was held in the morning, and then an advanced class that was held in the evening. And the advanced class circled around reading a novel together. And both classes went so well that we decided to make this a permanent thing. And so we were pleased to share that we had a fall session of both the beginner and advanced. And then we just last night wrapped up our spring session as well. And we continue to make little changes and edits to how these classes work based on the parent groups that attend. But we would just like to invite you all to our fall class. We don't have the dates yet, but everyone is welcome to come improve their English. Classes are free, and really what happens is the parents tend to really form a kind of a bond and community amongst themselves. And so the group last night even started making plans about all meeting up together over the summer, just because they don't want to wait months to get back together for the book club. So very excited to share about that. And then we held our third annual Spanish social event. This is a community building event for our Spanish speaking families. Again, the idea came out of DELAC members as a way to encourage our Spanish speakers to come together, come on campus, and just do some networking and community building. This year was our biggest turnout yet, and I have a couple pictures to show you on the next slide. So in this bottom left-hand corner, the culminating event at the social is, of course, the piñata. And so the kids had a fun time doing that. We actually had a little piñata for the little kids and then a bigger one for the older kids. We did a hot potato game. Here on the right, you can see Alejandra, who's currently interpreting for us, running that game. And it was a lot of fun. The kids were sad when they had to leave because they had the hot potato, but it was all in good fun. And then this picture on top is a picture of, I believe, the Fall Adult English Book Club. And so as you can see, a great group of about 15 to 18 parents on any given night, with Mr. Steve Lavelle, a former high school English teacher, running the book club. And so great discussions are held throughout. I don't think the book for this fall has been chosen, but the books are chosen based on parents' input. So in the fall, they read a great novel called A Man Called Ove, and then someone suggested in the spring to read a science fiction book. So they just finished up Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. So stay tuned. But again, families, we would love, if this interests you, to join us in the fall. And then I'm going to jump right into another topic that is very timely for this meeting, and that is about how to read LPAC scores. So all of our English learners, we have over 650 currently in our district, are given the LPAC, the English Language Proficiency Assessment for California. Every spring, we have a window of February through May to provide this assessment. It assesses students who are learning English in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And while it is another assessment, it really, of all the assessments, I think provides some of the best results and best information, not just for parents, but for teachers as well, because it breaks it down into how students are doing in all four of those domains. Oftentimes, when a student is here for a year or more, their speaking becomes proficient really quickly, but it can take time for that reading and writing component to catch up. So if a teacher knows, okay, speaking is really a success, but I should spend my time wisely helping this student with their writing, that is just so beneficial. So when parents receive their LPAC scores, which will be anytime starting next week, the state of California sends them out as students, as they score the students. It takes a little while longer to score 3rd through 8th grade writing, because as students grow in the grade level, then they're expected to write more, and they have people that hand score all of the writing. So that can take a little bit of time, but starting mid next week, end of next week, some of the score reports will start trickling out, and we'll be sending those to parents through Parent Square. And I just want to give you kind of a synopsis of what they'll look like. And so this slide here, which we will post on our website after this meeting, so by tomorrow we should have it up there if you want to refer back to it, just breaks down the 4 levels. So in each, for the LPAC, their students can score at a level 4, 3, 2, or 1. And so this slide really just calls out what each of those levels means. So then this is an example of what the front of the score, there's a front and a back. And so the front of the score sheet, as you can see, it's addressed to each student specifically. And on the left-hand column, you'll see the overall level. So in this case, this student scored a 3. It tells you below that what a 3 means. So in this case, it's that moderately developed. And very close. You can see the student did very well. So probably the following year, the student will score at a 4 because of the indicator of how high on the 3 they got. And so it explains what moderately developed means. And then on the right-hand side, it just kind of gives an overview of the summative LPAC and what the scores mean. And then on the back side of the sheet, it lots of good info here. It shows the comparison from the students' 2 previous years, assuming they've taken it for 2 previous years. And that is kind of neat to see their growth. And in the past, they didn't have this. So parents had to hang on to their score reports year after year and then kind of do their own comparison. And so it's a really nice visual, and again, just kind of shows you the growth from year to year. But then the bottom of that second page is really where kind of the meat and potatoes of it all are, because that's where it breaks down into oral and written scores. So in the oral score, oral is made up of listening and speaking. So this student did well in that moderately developed. They are clearly a great listener. So they were able to listen to a passage and answer some questions. Their speaking needs a little bit of work. So they scored in that somewhat moderate range. And then looking at the written score, again, this is for reading and writing. Again, they scored at that moderately developed, very well developed as a reader. So for the reading assessment, they're asked to read a passage and then answer questions. And then for writing, that's where they need a little bit of work. So if I were the teacher receiving this score, I would say, okay, listening and reading are strengths. So I want to keep building upon those strengths. But speaking and writing are the areas that I want to focus on with this student. So it really is a great report. And parents, use that link in the chat if you have any questions. Oftentimes when scores come out, the questions that parents want to know is a little bit more information on their student's score, or sometimes they don't receive the score, so they'll reach out and then we can resend it. So keep that link in the chat, or just email Janine or I at the end. The very last slide of our DLAC has our email addresses if you have any questions after you receive the scores, and we can help break it down for you.
Thank you for that breakdown of LPAC scores. Yes, like Heather said, we are always here to answer questions. I'm excited to say that Mrs. Annie Murphy has joined our DLAC Zoom, and she's going to give us a little more information on the LCAP.
Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a good afternoon. So part of our LCAP is we need to share our LCAP with our educational partners, and our DLAC committee is one of those awesome LCAP educational partner groups. So I'm going to give you a run through on what our LCAP is around our goals and actions, and then we'll have a link where you can provide us some feedback, because we do take your feedback and make adjustments to our actions based on what you share with us. Next slide. Oh, there it is. Right. So we're going to review your role in the LCAP, an overview of our LCAP, review the 8 state priorities, your stakeholder input, and then updates for our 24-27 LCAP, because it's a 3-year plan, and then our next steps. So the DLAC's role in the LCAP is to review, comment on the LCAP development or our annual updates of our local control accountability plan. So today we're going to review it and then provide you an opportunity. So the LCAP is a 3-year plan, and in that plan we set goals. Our district has 5 goals, and under each goal there are actions. Within those actions, we have to measure progress for our student subgroups across multiple performance indicators, and we have metrics that are in our LCAP so that we're able to show if we're making progress or if there's areas we need to work on. This LCAP plan is updated every single year, and it goes to the board in June for approval. Educational partners, we used to call you stakeholders, but you are partners. And so you review and provide us input in the process of developing and evaluating and updating the plan. So we have state priorities, and the LCAP shows how we use the funds provided by the state to address each of the 8 state priorities to meet the needs of students, including low-income students, English learners, and foster youth. And we have supplemental funds that must be principally directed toward meeting our unduplicated students. And unduplicated students are our low-income students, our English learners, and foster youth. So we have to write specific actions around how we're going to support these students. There are 8 state priorities, and we group them into 3 groups: conditions of learning, pupil outcomes, and engagement. So under conditions of learning, we have basic services, and that we talk about like the buildings, making sure that, that we have the roofs aren't leaking, the windows aren't leaking, that students have access to technology, that staff have access to technology. 7 is course access, making sure students have access to English language arts, mathematics, social studies, science, PE, music, and in middle schools, music, arts, and elective courses. And then implementation of state standards. So in the state of California, we have standards for each grade level that students are required to learn. And so we have to make sure that we are teaching those. Pupil outcomes, we have pupil achievement, and this is really where we focus on our CAS scores, our LPAC scores, to show how students are making progress. And other pupil outcomes can be our own district assessments that we use here in Union. And then the last area, we have engagement, school climate. And so that's where we do surveys to see how students and families are feeling about school. Pupil engagement, that's our attendance, our suspension rates, expulsion rates, because when we have higher attendance, less suspensions and expulsions, then we know pupils are engaged in school. And then parent involvement. So every year you receive a survey from the district, and then we try to offer, as Heather was sharing, we have our adult English classes and just the different classes and things we offer to make sure parents are staying involved in the district. So we have 5 goals, as I said, and here's a summary of each goal, and then below it shows you which priorities that the goals are connected to. So goal 1 is to provide appropriate conditions to support teaching and learning for all students, and that connects to priority 1, 5, and 6. Goal 2 is to raise the achievement of all students while closing the achievement gaps in identified groups, and that hits priority 2, 4, 7, and 8. Goal 3 is to educate the whole child by providing integrated social, emotional, behavior, and mental health support systems, and that hits priority 5 and 6. Goal 4 is to enhance parent engagement and improve communication among home, school, stakeholders, and educational partners, and that hits priority 3. And then we have goal 5, which is to address the underlying systemic conditions leading to the significantly disproportionate identification of Hispanic students for special education and assessment under specific learning disability. And that hits priorities 1, 4, and 8. So what do we have to do when it comes to the LCAP plan review? So the plan must include specific data defined by the state to monitor progress on each of the 8 priorities. So some examples is we put attendance rates in, we put suspension rates, we show how we do on the CASP, and we break it down by our different subgroups. We put in some questions from the parent survey, and we monitor that year over year to see if things are getting better. The same, we put in input from staff. So those are just some of the things that we monitor. Each goal probably has about anywhere from 3 to 8 different metrics. And then the DELAC input is required part of the process of developing and evaluating and updating the plan. And then the plan and annual updates must be submitted to the county office of education for review and approval. So some highlights of goal 1, as we talked about, it's providing the appropriate conditions for teaching and learning for all students, is our staff recruitment, retention, and support. So it's really important to us that when we hire teachers, we want them to stay with Union. It provides consistency for our students. Access to curriculum. One of the things to highlight is that we will be starting a pilot in the 2026-27 school year for English Language Arts ELD curriculum. Our Health and Nutrition Committee, which is new, we got a lot of feedback from students and parents and from you last year about over the past few years about the food choices and what we need to do to support students. So that is an action that we have. And then lunchtime supervision. So how do we recruit parents and volunteers to support at lunchtime while the students are out having fun? Goal 2 highlights around raising the achievement of all students. We have our interventions in elementary and middle school for math, English language arts, and English language development. One of the things that we heard and we added was we needed more interventions in middle school. So that's something that we've been working on based off of feedback. Professional development for teachers around differentiation and English language development. Digital citizenship, safety, and the balanced use of technology. And then increasing our STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematic opportunities for students. Goal 3 highlights is around educating the whole child as we think about their social, emotional, behavioral, mental health support. So at all of our sites, there's a social emotional learning curriculum that staff use to support students. We have mental health and counseling support for students at all of our school sites. We have behavior support through positive behavior intervention supports and professional development. Many of you may have heard of PBIS. That's something that we started a few years ago, and now we have every single school and district starting it. So that is awesome. And then incorporating student voice and increasing student sense of belonging on campus and within the community. Goal 4 highlights our parent engagement and improved communication between school and home. So we're really working to improve that, increase our parent education classes. Heather spoke to some of those tonight, and we're always looking for new opportunities where parents can learn more about what their children are learning or ways to support them even in their parenting for their children. Providing translation services, we use Language Line, has 41 different languages to support in conferences, phone calls. We have our awesome community liaison, Alejandra, who's actually on the call translating for you right now. And she supports parents with all kinds of ways and connecting them to resources. And then we have our district wellness coordinator to connect families with community resources. And goal 5 on providing those early intervening services to help for students to help reduce the referrals to special education. We have our English language teacher committee, which you got to hear from today about all the awesome things that are happening at the sites. We have a partially funded teacher on special assignment to support teachers of English learners, and then providing professional development for teachers to address best practices in differentiation, inclusion, and English language development. So that's a lot of things on the LCAP. You're probably like, yeah, I went through them kind of fast, but we have this form for you, and we would love if you could provide us any additional thoughts in regards to our LCAP, things that you think might be missing or things that we could add to, or even if there's something there you're like, this is great, but you could make it better by doing. We would appreciate if you fill that out. So our next steps. So currently we are finishing, well, as soon as we get your feedback as well, we will finish updating a draft of our LCAP. And then our County Office of Education, they review that draft and provide feedback to make sure that we are compliant with the state and what they're requiring in our LCAP, because then we take it to the board. And so we want to make sure that when it goes to the board, it's good to go. It goes to the board on June 2nd for, we share out about the LCAP. There's an opportunity for the public to ask questions, and then it comes back to the next board meeting for adoption. Once it's adopted, it goes to the county office for approval, and then they read through it again, make sure everything's there, and then if they approve it, they usually approve end of July, mid-August, then we post it on our website, and then they let CDE, the California Department of Education, know that our LCAP has been approved. And I just want to make one comment when Miss Seringhouse was talking about Olympic Day at Guadalupe. I used to go to Guadalupe. That was my favorite day of the year. It was so fun.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Annie. And I am so excited about all the hard work you guys have done on LCAP and how it reflects our district in such a positive way. Once again, family members, feel free to give your input on that LCAP to represent Union School District even better. So to wrap things up, this is our third and final DELAC meeting of the school year. Of course, we will have more DELAC meetings next year. Talk to your friends, have them join, whether they can't join live on Zoom. Obviously, the recording will be shared with Union School District families. So encourage them to listen and stay current and give any input that they have, or if they need any further support, we're always here to listen. And so once again, our emails are there, Heather and myself. We will meet to look over these questions and concerns and get back to you as soon as possible. But thank you for your time today. Thank you for your input always and your support for everybody within Union School District, whether it's the children or the teachers or the district staff. We are in this together, and it's been a wonderful school year. Thank you for everything, and we look forward to another wonderful school year next year. We will go ahead and update you with DELAC dates once we know them for the upcoming school year. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.